I am welcoming you all of them to my channel. It is the continuation of previous class, that is Beer-Lambert law. In most of the cases, we are observing that there is no direct proportionality between absorbance and concentration. That is, Beer's law is getting deviated. What are the cases, under which cases Beer's law is getting deviated? That we are going to see in this lecture. Especially, I am going to talk more about chemical deviation in this lecture. First of all, the Beer-Lambert law will also be called as limiting law. This is not actually very new to us. Already we know that Debye-Huckel law in electrochemistry, also that law also will be called as limiting law. Similarly, Beer's law will also be called as limiting law because this law will be applicable only to dilute solution like Debye-Huckel law. What will happen when you increase the concentration? That is the first question. When you increase the concentration, the molecules or ions can come close together. Then the molar absorptivity can be affected because of the secondary interaction such as electrostatic interaction. That's why Beer's law will be applicable only to dilute solution. The concentration, the absorbance may be around 0.01 to 0.1. That will be more, it will give more reliable result compared with the higher absorbance. What will happen when ions are coming closer? When ions are coming to closer, what happen? There will be when ions are very close to one another, and that means it's a kind of concentrated solution. When ions are very close to one another, the molar absorptivity, that is epsilon, the molar absorptivity of the analyte, the molar absorptivity of the analyte can be altered by electrostatic interaction, The two ions exist in the average distance. Okay, then there will be no interaction between these two. That will be applicable for dilute solution. But when the solution gets concentrated, the ions are coming closer. So, because of electrostatic interaction, one of the species of molar absorptivity can be altered by another species. That's why what happened? We have to measure any kind of species molar absorptivity will be more reliable towards dilute solution. The another reason you can take, that is when the solutions are getting concentrated, again there will be another problem which is related to index of refraction, because when the ions are coming closer, usually when we are going to measure UV visible spectrophotometer, when we are going to measure absorbance or wavelength, what will happen? We are using two solutions, one for the sample, another for blank solution. The purpose of blank solution, actually what happened, the solvent correction we are just going to do for the sample. So if when you are going to prepare the sample with high concentration, the index of the refraction of the sample will be differed compared with the blank solution. So under again that case, there may be the possibility of true deviation from Beer's law. So true deviations from Beer's law, will occur when the concentration is so high, that the index of refraction, of the solution is changed, from the top of the solution is changed from the top of the blank, When you are going to measure UV visible spectrophotometer, you have two cuvette. One cuvette having sample, another cuvette having blank. Blank means it contains only solvent. Which one you are using? Solvent will be there mostly. Most of the cases solvent will be there. So it's a kind of solvent correction. How much solvent can be absorbed? That will be subtracted with the sample to get more accurate data for the absorption of the sample absorbed, that can be obtained by correcting the solvent correction. So in case if the sample is highly concentrated, the index of the refraction of the sample is so different compared with blank. So what will happen? Then the solvent correction is not completely cancelled each other. So you can't subtract completely. So what happened? That will be a kind of mismatch between these two. So what that may affect that may cause of deviating the Beer's law. Okay, these are some of the real limitations of Beer's law. Now let me see the chemical deviation. Now let me come to the chemical deviation, that is the next one. Chemical deviation. What does it mean? Chemical deviation. In case you have an analyte, that analyte has the ability to undergo association. You have an analyte, that analyte is undergoing any kind of association or dissociation or interacting with solvent, Then what happened? Under these cases, whatever the analyte you are going to use in UV visible spectrophotometry, that analyte, the absorbing analyte is undergoing, let us assume, association or dissociation or interacting with the solvent. Under that case, there is a possibility of deviation from Beer's law. Now, I would like to specifically discuss with a suitable example to understand more about chemical deviation. Now let me take any kind of weak acid. Just take an example of HA. It's a kind of weak acid. This is the molecule which absorbs UV light. If it undergoes dissociation, let us assume, dissociated into proton plus corresponding salt. It is transparent. Let us assume it does not absorb any UV visible light. Transparent. Okay. What will happen? So, under this condition, for example, weak acid is dissociated into proton and acid. That will be, for example, in case of if it is properly buffered or highly acidic. Buffered or highly acidic medium. Then what happened? Acidic medium. Then the ratio of acid and salt will be constant. The ratio of acid and salt, will be constant. Will be constant at all concentration of acid. Okay. If it is buffered or a highly acidic medium, what happened? Then the ratio of acid and salt will be constant at all concentration of acid. In case, if it is not buffered, unbuffered condition, then what will happen? If the solution is unbuffered, then the acid dissociation will be more favorable under dilute condition. That means when you more diluted the acid, it will be, the equilibrium will be shifted more towards the right. That means HA, the absorbing species, will get decreased. At the same time, under dilute condition, the corresponding anion concentration gets increased. So what will happen for that case? So, when you plot a graph of lambda versus absorbance, concentration versus absorbance, one case you will get a kind of positive deviation, another case may form a kind of negative deviation. One will be a kind of positive deviation, another case may happen with negative deviation. So, again we are repeating, in case if the solution is unbuffered, then under dilute condition, more amount of acid is dissociated to form anion. So, the fraction of absorbing species in dilute solution is lesser. Okay? The fraction of absorbing species in dilute solution is lesser. But when you increase the concentration of acid, what will happen? The equilibrium will move more towards HA. So what happen? Will get the positive deviation. At the same time, in case if the absorbing species is A minus, under high concentration, you will get that negative deviation. I will repeat again. HA is a absorbing species. If that is an absorbing species, under dilute condition, HA will be more dissociated into anion. So the fraction of absorbing species of HA is small. Okay? But when you increase the concentration, the equilibrium will shift more towards the left hand side. So the concentration of HA is increasing. So it will end up with a positive deviation. In case if the absorbing species is A minus, then you will get a negative deviation. Okay. Now what happened? I will go to the next case, another case. Now you have concentrated solution of, you have two absorbing species. Two absorbing species in unbuffered solution. Two absorbing species in unbuffered solution. What will happen? Two absorbing species in unbuffered solution. Let us take an example of an indicator HIN, which will be dissociated into proton and ion minus. Okay. If the neutral molecule is absorbing at 570 nanometer, it absorbing at 5, because these two species can absorb it to different wavelength. HIN, undissociated form, is absorbing at 570 nanometer. The dissociated indicator can absorb at 430 nanometer. We have various indicators. Most of the indicators are weak acid. So what happens? If it is dissociated, one will be absorbed at one wavelength and another species, the dissociated one will be absorbed at another wavelength. Okay, for that case, I am going to draw a graph of relationship between concentration versus absorbance at two different wavelengths. Okay, you can see that one is dominated at 430 nanometer. I mean, this one will be called as, whatever the graph I have drawn in, that is A, will be called as positive deviation. At lambda 570 nanometer, the graph B will be called as negative deviation. This will be called as negative deviation, whereas that one will be called as positive deviation. Now, let me explain. Now let me understand this graph from this equation. At 430 nanometer is primarily absorbed due to dissociated indicator. At 430 nanometer is primarily absorbed due to dissociated indicator. At low concentration, another important thing is the fraction ionized non-linearly varies with the fraction ionized. How much fraction ionized? Non-linearly varies with the total concentration. Non-linearly varies with the total concentration. When you change the concentration, the ionization will be non-linearly ionized. Okay, the fraction ionized non-linearly varies with the total concentration. Okay. Now, at a lower concentration, under dilute condition, what happened? The ionized form will be the fraction of ionized ion will be higher compared with the total concentration. At lower concentration, the fraction ionized is larger. The fraction ionized is larger than at high concentrations. Hence, positive deviation occurs. At lower concentration, the fraction ionized is larger. That means under dilute condition, indicator, the dissociated indicator will be higher in concentration, okay, than high concentration. At low concentration, again in dilute solution, the formation, the fraction of ionized species is higher compared with the high concentration. When you increase the concentration, what happen? Equilibrium will be shifted more towards the left hand side. So that's why what happen? You will get at low concentration, the fraction of ion minus species is higher than at high concentration. When you come to the high concentration, what happen? It will be comparatively with low concentration, it will be lesser. Now let me go to the next one. At 570 nanometer, at 570 nanometer, the undissociated molecule is primarily absorbed. Okay, at 570 nanometer, the absorbance is primarily due to undissociated indicator. Okay. Again, in this case also, at lower concentration, when you come to the lower concentration, the fraction of dissociated is lesser. The fraction in this form begins as low amount and increases non-linearly with the total concentration. Non-linearly with the total concentration give rise to the negative deviation. At 570 nanometer, we are observing a negative deviation. At 570 nanometer, the absorbance is primarily due to undissociated indicator. What happened? When you begin with the low concentration, the undissociated form is lesser because the equilibrium will be more towards the right hand side for dilute solution. So what happened? The undissociated the fraction will be very lesser in compared with the total concentration. Because in compared to total concentration, the high concentration, what happened? This undissociated form will be the major part. So for that case, what happened? It will be end up with a negative deviation. At 430 nanometer, is due to dissociated indicator will give positive deviation. At 570 nanometer, the absorbance is primarily due to undissociated indicator, it will give negative deviation. So in both cases, what happened? It was deviated because of the molecule is undergoing non-linearly dissociated with respect to concentration. So it was deviated from Beer's law. Okay, I would like to now talk about isobestic point. Isobestic point. Isobestic point. When the isobestic point will arise. if both species of a chemical equilibrium, if both species of a chemical equilibrium absorb, and if there is an overlapping spectra, and if there is some overlap, and if there is some overlap of absorption spectra, absorption curves, the wavelength at which this occurs is called isobestic point. You have two species, the two species will be in equilibrium, and it is overlapping, the curves will be overlapped where it was overlapped, where it was intersected. That wavelength is called isobestic point. Now let me go to more specific example, then we can understand more about this thing. Just to take an example of again one more indicator. Okay. So you have an bromethymol blue, which is a kind of dye, or you can say indicator, that will be exist in two form depend upon the pH. At the pH 5.445, slightly acidic. Under that condition, one form will be dominated, that absorbs at one wavelength. But when you come to pH 11.60, I mean it's more basic in nature. Under basic condition, what happened? Another form, one form is changed into another form. So what happened? That will absorb in another wavelength. The simplest one is phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein, we know that under acidic condition will be colorless, which exists as benzenoid form. But when you made basic, what happened? We changed from benzenoid form to quinonide form. That will absorb, that will give purple color, that we know actually. That means it has two different absorption, but changing the pH of the solution. Similarly, bromethymol blue, one species will be more dominated at an acidic medium, another species will be formed at higher pH of the solution. Okay, that means you have two species, one form, that is A in equilibrium with B. So A or B, the formation will be decided by changing the pH of the solution. Okay, you can see that point. All whatever the constant, all of them will be meet at one wavelength. That wavelength will be called as isobaric point. Isobaric point. For example, brown thymal blue, the isobaric point will be around 501 nanometer. What is the importance of isobaric point? If you have two species and both will fall in, and when that species, when you have taken that molar absorptivity of that isobaric point, both species molar absorptivity will be same at isobaric point. That we have to remember actually. At isobaric point, both the species molar absorptivity will be same. Of course, it is less sensitive compared with D or A, but whatever the species you have two, in case if you have only two species, at isobaric point, molar absorptivity will be same for both species. Usually, molar absorptivity will be highly dependent upon the wavelength. At particular wavelength, both species have the same molar absorptivity. At isobaric point, the molar absorptivity of both species, that is A and B, is same. Okay. Obviously, the effect of pH could be eliminated. The effect of pH could be eliminated by making measurement at the isobaric point. But the sensitivity is decreased. At the same time, if you gone to either acidic solution or basic solution, the sensitivity will be increased. Okay, either if you, for example, if you have gone to highly acidic medium, what happened? Highly acidic medium, the wavelength, the A will be, the concentration of one form will be increased. Under that case, the sensitivity also will be increased. For two component system, it is a kind of two component system. Okay, for two component system, in which the two absorbing species are in equilibrium, for two component system, in which the two absorbing species are in equilibrium. All curves intersect at the isobaric point. All curves intersect at the isobaric point. where they have the same epsilon value. Where they have the same epsilon value. For two component system in which the two absorbing species are in equilibrium, for which two absorbing species are in equilibrium, all curves intersect at the isobastic point where they have the same epsilon value. Okay. The existence of, because what we give another information, the existence of isobastic point is the proof for the existence of two components in equilibrium. If there is a two component in equilibrium, definitely there should be an isobastic point. The existence of an isobastic point. The existence of an isobastic point is necessary condition to prove that there are only two absorbing species. There are only two absorbing species in equilibrium with the overlapping absorption band. If there is an existence of, because if there is only two components present in the system means, then the two components which are in equilibrium in the system means, then the necessary condition should be, there should be a formation of isobastic point. If there is no isobastic point means, then what happened? Definitely there is no only two components. Maybe more than two components exist in the system. And also one more thing I can tell. For example, if there is a presence of third component, even though, because if there is a formation of isobastic point, we can't tell that only two components. The third components also can exist, but the epsilon is equal to 0. Okay. The existence of an isobastic point, is not the proof of the presence of only two components. There may be a third component with the epsilon is equal to 0. Okay. Two components, maybe more than one component also can be present with the epsilon is equal to 0. But at the same time, the absence of isobastic point. However, definite proof of the absence of isobastic point. However, definite proof of the presence of the third components. Our definite proof of the presence of third components. Provided the deviation of Beer's law from the system. Provided the possibility of deviation of Beer's law. Okay. How can we avoid the chemical deviation from the system? So how can we minimize the chemical deviation of the system? First one, carry out the system with unbuffered solution. Just use the, because you have to know which analyte you are going to analyze. For that you should have the knowledge of whether how much buffer, whether the solution is properly buffered or not. That is the first one. Second one, ionic strength adjustment. That is another phenomenon. And ionic strength should be properly adjusted. Another way I can tell, third one will be making of the calibration curves. If you make the calibration where you are, which region you are going to measure, for that region make calibration curve, and then what happen? You can conform. For this type of cases, what happen? You can minimize the deviation of Beer's law for your system. Okay. And another thing I want to tell about that, I forgot to mention about the chemical division. I want to talk one more thing. Use of complexing agent. Use of complexing agent, it will be more particularly specifically useful for inorganic system. Complexing agent. Simplest example I can give, we can take an example of copper and ammonia. We'll give tetraamine copper. Okay, tetraamine copper sulfate. Okay, tetraamine copper 2 ion. So when you are going to analyze for this compound, then use excess of complexing agent. When you discuss blank, for example, you have a sample of tetraamine copper. You can use here sample tetraamine copper. Okay, and blank will be usually water. But what you can do? Use of complexing agent means the solution itself you can prepare with 1% ammonia solution. When you are going to prepare the solution of this one, because what will happen under dilute condition, there will be more possibility of the complex can undergo dissociation. To avoid dissociation, when you are going to prepare a solution, at that time itself use complexing agent as a complexing agent with solvent. For example, when you are going to use this one with water, when you are going for very dilute solution, this can undergo decomposition. To avoid the decomposition, water with ammonia, 1% ammonia, 2% ammonia solution, if you use it, means the dissociation will be minimized. Under that case, what happened? You can get more reliable epsilon value. Then what happened? You can expect the linearity between the absorbance and between the concentration and the absorbance. So then what happened? The departure from the deviation of Beer's law will be minimized. So use of excess of complex, especially when you come to inorganic chemistry, any kind of inorganic complexes you are going to measure the absorbance or wavelength. For that case, use complexing agent itself. Use complexing agent with the solvent for preparing solution. The same solution you can use as a blank to minimize to make the solvent correction. Okay, so that is another way of minimizing the deviation of Beer's law. Finally, thank you very much for all of them participated in this lecture.